Hello and welcome to I'm Your Target Demographic. Today we are starting a new series of things called What Is. And basically, I've been asked to explain various facets of nerd culture to someone that knows nothing about it. So for example, today we're covering Battlestar Galactica. So in just a few minutes, I'm going to try to cover everything that someone that's never seen the show needs to know, right? So cultural impacts, sayings, characters, things that are often brought up that now you're in the loop. So let's get right into it. What is Battlestar Galactica? So there are actually two television shows called Battlestar Galactica. The first one was back in 1978. That is not the one we're talking about. But we are talking about the more recent one from 2004 to 2009. So here's the premise. A long time ago, we created a line of self-replicating robots called Cylons. There was a war, but we survived and seemingly destroyed the Cylons. But when the show begins, it's slowly revealed that the Cylons are back, and this time they appear as humans. There are basically 12 humanoid Cylons throughout the show, but we as the audience are slowly learning who is and who isn't a Cylon. Some of them are even sleeper agents, meaning they don't know that they're a Cylon. So in the first few episodes, the Cylons attack and decimate the human population. A small pocket of survivors board an ancient starship called the Battlestar Galactica, hence the name of the show. There's a commander of the ship, and then there's a president of the government who go back and forth fighting for control over what is best for their people. Sometimes they agree, and sometimes they disagree. The show ran for 4 seasons and basically followed this ship as they tried to find ways to survive and possibly even defeat the Cylons and then rebuild the human population. Now this show somehow really resonated with folks that weren't traditionally fans of science fiction, probably because it was so human-focused and was fairly accessible. The big draw of the show was slowly discovering who the Cylons were. The show is known for big twists and end-of-the-episode reveals. The characters on the show were also really paranoid, resulting in many episodes where people were imprisoned or even killed, though they weren't really Cylons. Now that was the big draw. At its heart, it was a murder mystery style show with hints and clues each episode. So here's a question you might be thinking. If they discover that someone's a Cylon, wouldn't they just kill them? The Cylons are able to reincarnate, meaning that they have a ship full of empty husks, and when the Cylon is killed, it reappears on the ship in a new body. There are also multiple bodies for each Cylon, meaning there could be 2 of the same model doing completely different things. Now this was also fascinating to watch unfold, as one model might exhibit different traits than the others. You also might be thinking, this sounds really science fiction. Why would this somehow capture a bigger fan base than any other sci-fi show? It was the emphasis on the human characters. They were dark and complicated and sometimes unredeemable. We didn't watch Breaking Bad because we could relate with making and selling meth. At least, not a lot of us can anyways. On Battlestar Galactica, we saw people trying to survive, trying to uncover who they can trust. It was a very real feeling set in a very surreal environment. That, mixed with the big mystery of who the Cylons were amongst their ranks, made for some great television. While the cast of the show hasn't really gone on to make much of themselves following the series, one of the audience favorites was Captain Kara Thrace, known as Starbuck. The actor playing her, Katie Sackhoff, hasn't gotten any big gigs following this except for on the show Longmire and a spot on Vin Diesel's latest Riddick movie, though she still remains a fan favorite. So one thing that Battlestar Galactica has contributed to society, and that is a term that a lot of people that have seen the show and other people have now adopted, which is called fracking. So it's a replacement for the F word. So you might say, I fracking hate it here, or my fracking car broke down, or
frack! Frack you! There are so fracking many.
And this is different than the term fracking, which is used for digging for oil and gas. Same word, spelled differently. Another thing is sometimes people that have been a follower of the show might say is a term called so say we all, which is basically a term that they use when they all agree on something. They give an inspirational speech and someone says so say we all and everyone else repeats so say we all, like so.
So say we all.
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 Now, after the success of Battlestar Galactica, they tried to do a prequel series called Caprica. It only lasted 1 season and got really not stellar reviews. So that is the basics about Battlestar Galactica. I try not to spoil too much in case this actually sounds interesting and you want to go back and watch. So what else do you want to know the basics about? In the coming weeks, I'll probably do things like Doctor Who, the TV show Lost, Warhammer, Warcraft, other things that are little subcultures within the nerd community that maybe some of us aren't part of, so it'd be nice to have a handy little guide. So what else do you want to see explained? So that's it, and we'll see you next week.